just thought I'd do a little introduction here since I don't think I ever did formally. For those of you who only watch the videos and don't see posts on MeWe and such, you all probably know Burley. He's been with me, he's almost 4. Been with me since he was a pretty small puppy. And this is Tana. Her name is short for Montana, which is where she grew up on a working cattle ranch, where she was born. She is Clay's dog, and these two goofballs like to play together. These two goofballs have known each other ever since he was a baby, and Tana's almost 10. She is Clay's dog, and you don't see her in all the videos around here because she is very often with him all day while he is at work. And she's been that way ever since she was a very tiny little ball of fur. She is a blue heeler. She's very black for a blue heeler, but there's heelers come in, which are also called Australian cattle dogs, come in blue and red colors. So technically she would be a blue heeler. And she, yeah, you're with your daddy most of the day. But she sometimes hangs out with me here when he's got stuff going on that he can't take her along for, or when we're both together, then both dogs are here. So if you've never met Tana before, that's her. She's pretty independent. She's not as cuddly as Burley. She loves to cuddle when it's her idea, but not so much all the time like he does. So she's over there guarding a bone. And if you've never met her before, that's who she is. So I thought I'd throw that in there just because Tana shows up again in this video. And of course, I know some of you already knew who she was. Anyway, I go into some more detail here in a minute, but I wanted to clarify that a couple times I say crabgrass. Crabgrass is not what we have. It is quackgrass. Several times I said the right word. I realized when I went back to edit this, and sometimes I said the wrong word. Crabgrass is also fairly invasive, but it is annual and dies when it gets cold. Quackgrass, what we actually have, on the other hand, does not. It is a very cold hardy plant. It does not die back. It lives year after year. And in addition to being very, very invasive, it's actually also, I'm never sure I pronounced this word correctly, allelopathic or something along those lines, which basically means it engages in chemical warfare against the other plants in the area as well, actively working to poison them as well as crowd them out, choke them off, and take all the nutrients, water, air, sunshine, all of that stuff. So, here in a second, I'm going to go into more detail on what we're working on, but this has been a really, really big project this spring. Folks, Ariel over here. What we have been working on for some number of weeks here, I don't have something stuck in my glove, is trying to unchoke all of our little trees and bushes that we've planted. So last year, when I had planted most of these things, I had, dug all the sod out around them, or on some of the bigger ones. Clay did for me with the backhoe if we were digging a big enough hole, and planted my little stuff. This is an aspen tree clump I'm beside here, and mulched around it nicely with wood chips, and I thought that would work for a while. A bunch of them I even tried planting. I wanted useful things to grow around and be kind of a cover crop down at the base, like mint or strawberries or various other herbs and so on. By the end of last year, this goes in the learn from our failures, I'd realized that wasn't going to work. Apparently what we've got on this property, I believe, is about completely crabgrass. And unlike other things that I've mulched deeply, I put 5-6 inches of ground wood chips on there in most places that I've done this. That has kept most weeds from going back through for years, and here it did not work at all. crabgrass came right back through it. As you can probably see from this clump here, it looks even thicker than the places where I had not dug it out and removed it all. And even in places where I dumped like an entire truckload of those wood chips, it came right through like 5 feet of them. So it wasn't, I don't think there's any amount of them that I could mulch it with that would actually stop this grass from coming back in. I guess I've just never really had to deal with crabgrass before in my life, but it sucks. In hindsight, I'm almost wishing that we had, except I don't actually, because I wouldn't want to kill all the other life in the soil, but I almost wish that we had killed all the grass on the entire property right after we first bought it, before we started planting anything, and had gone from there. But we didn't, and I did not realize how aggressive this stuff was, and so now we're dealing with it. By last fall, like I said, I was realizing that this was not working, that it was, coming in very vigorously through everything I had planted, actively taking all the moisture, light, nutrients, and actually choking the little trees and bushes in places. You can see it actually wrap its roots in a circle like it was trying to, squeeze the life out of whatever I was trying to grow, which was a problem. So I had gone through, I started with the orchard over there by the house first, and I went around a nice big circle around each tree. Took lots of time. I don't mind working hard. I just like to feel like I'm eventually getting somewhere when I do. Took lots of time, dug out every bit of grass, went through, all the soil, tried to get every little bit of root so there'd be nothing left, and, kind of reinstated the mints and strawberries and hyssops and comfreys and such that I had planted around the base of each one. And there's 15 fruit trees over there right now. Before I could get to the 15th one, the first ones that I had done, that I thought I had got every bit of root and everything out of, looked like I'd planted sod. That's how much grass grew back in that quickly. So that was very, very discouraging. And by this spring, as stuff started to grow, it was even more discouraging, because you could see everything was being choked, and we were going to lose everything I planted. I already have lost some stuff due to that, of even trees and bushes, because they weren't big, and I've lost a lot of herbs and such, which is sad. So I tried what you saw over there toward the where the lane comes into the property. Put down multiple thick layers of cardboard and covered that with wood chips to see if that would help smother it. It helped. I'm not entirely sure how much of it is that the grass managed to push through that. That's some of it for sure. And some of it is that the chickens scratched it up, and that made openings for the grass to come back through. So now we're on to another plan. This is why we like to share our ups and our downs, and so that other people can learn from us. So now what we're doing is what you saw Clay and I working on together there. Digging all the grass back out and away. And Clay has to come around. These are, you can't tell this, but he's already loosened these chunks like that with a big shovel, because the roots are so thick that they don't go down terribly deep, but that top 6 inches or so, it's such a solid mat of roots. And I've taken, oh boy, can't even count the number of wheelbarrow loads of roots and grass out from around here between last year and this year. But I can get on a shovel and I can jump up and down on it, and I can't get it to cut through the roots. I'm not strong enough, or I don't have enough weight to me. So when he's around for a minute, he'll go around several more and just kind of cut it loose into chunks like this, so that I can then come back and actually work on this project. So we're getting all the grass and stuff back, and then I'm actually taking plastic, not landscape cloth, because I've definitely seen grass come through that stuff, even grass much less aggressive than this, and doing what you saw there of laying a circle of black plastic out, and then, because otherwise it would blow away and the chickens would dig it up, here taking little skim of gravel and using that, a little layer of that to hold down. I think somebody needs a stick thrown. To hold down the plastic, and angle, tipping it slightly so that everything drains in. So whether it rains or I water something, all the water goes into the tree, and that seems to be working now. It's lasted for several weeks on the places I've done it, without the grass coming back in it, completely choking the tree or bush. And so I'm optimistic that if we can go through here and do that around each one, that will last for several years till these plants at least get big enough to hopefully kind of be able to fend for themselves. And I don't throw very well when I'm sitting, baby boy. So that's our current attempt and some of our failed attempts, but this is what I'm working on. Is we've got a whole bunch of plants done that way, few done that way. I've got this clump of aspens yet to do here, and then more stuff on the other side and down past the tiny house, and it's gonna take a while. But at least now I feel like I'm gradually getting, not necessarily ahead, but less far behind, because what I'm doing seems to actually be lasting for more than like 2 days. So that is really encouraging, and just thought I would share our current plan and all the stuff that didn't work. And my hope is in several years as some of this stuff gets bigger, because obviously once it's a mature tree, grass could go around the bottom of it and it's not going to kill it. But at the moment everything is so small, that is what's happening, that I would then be able to go along and just kind of yank out those pieces of plastic, because using plastic on my soil is not my very first choice either. But I can't possibly weed the entire property every day, and it takes me a couple months at least to get through everything, and by then it's even after a couple weeks it's all back to looking like I'd never done a single thing. So that, or having to spray chemicals to get rid of it, seems like the options we're down to, and so it seems like the best one of the current not so great options that we have. So that's our plan of attack right now, and the plan is for every future bush we plant, or tree, because we plan to continue planting more, is to do this immediately when we plant something new. Get all the sod off the surface, well back from it, plant it immediately, cover the bare ground with plastic and then gravel to hold it down, and then hopefully I won't be going back around and trying to unchoke more things as we continue to plant them. Do you really want more stick throwing? You look like you went swimming in the creek. Did you go swimming in the creek? Yeah? Yeah, and you really, really want it thrown? You do? Oh yeah, you're so excited about it. Velcro's stalking through the grass back over there. I don't know if she's going to come see me. Anyway, so this is kind of my big project every single day right now when I get done with the other things for the day that have to be done, like feeding the critters or watering the garden or something like that, is to work on unchoking a few more trees or bushes, and hopefully this one's going to work. But that's been our experience. If any of you have ever dealt with aggressive quackgrass like this and come up with some really good solution for a way to inhibit it growing and get other things to grow, because now it's making me really laugh when people are like, oh, you don't want to plant mint, it's so invasive, or well, comfrey, you got to contain it or it's going to take over everything. If I could get anything useful to take over this entire property that's not quackgrass, I'd be happy to have acres of mint or comfrey or tansy or any of the other things that never actually manage to grow invasively here anyway, thanks to our short, cold growing seasons. But anything that had some more use for me than this stuff would be awesome. And yes, I have considered getting some grazing animal that I could fence or tether to a single spot till they ate it clear down into the dirt and see if that would kill it. I'm not even sure with this root structure that this stuff has if that would kill it, but we just don't have quite enough acreage to keep something that eats grass here year-round without buying a ton of hay. This is something we've discussed a bunch. If you're going to suggest getting a sheep or a goat or something, then we'd of course also have to figure out how to protect each of these because they're so small they'd get eaten off too. But even if that wasn't an issue, we just, we got about 3 months of summer here, and buying hay for 9 months just doesn't seem like a worthwhile, especially with the price of hay these days. Way to go about it. But that is an option I've considered, and I can't make that really make sense either. But anyway, if anybody's got any other tips for getting rid of this stuff, I'm hoping somewhere down the road there'll be very little of it left on this property. But I think until then, I'm going to spend a lot of time fighting this stuff. Hi, Velcro. And I was joking with Clay the other, well, not entirely joking. I said if I die, and you put me in the compost, because that's what I'd like to have done with my body, plant it somewhere and plant a really big shade tree, something that gets so big and shady it chokes all the grass, because that's what I want to do. Anyhow, this is our little mini kitty. I think Velcro's all done growing. If she wasn't so fluffy, she'd really look tiny. I know a bunch of you folks were pretty sure from her looks that she might be part Maine Coon. As far as we know, she's purebred Wyoming ranch mutt cat, but she's also about the tiniest adult kitty I've ever seen. She's a year old now. Zipper is younger than her and about twice as big as her, and she's just this very, very tiny little friendly cat. And I think she will always be very, very tiny, which is another thing that makes me think she's probably not got any Maine Coon in her. But she is still, as you can see, a very friendly cat, and she'll come promptly sit on your lap, or she loves snuggling with Burley. They're very good friends. Oh, and you guys might get a kick out of this. If this was a genetically possible thing, we'd have puppy kittens from these two, because they are really good friends. And they were both very into the concept. Since puppy kittens are not a genetically possible thing, we won't be having any, but it was quite funny. In addition to snuggling with each other, they thought they were going to make babies together. And I've also never known a cat that was quite that dog friendly. But she's a little sweetheart, very good mouser, despite the fact that she's so tiny, but she is really, really little and weighs almost nothing. So that's enough rambling on about interesting stuff here for now. And I'm going to sign off and say goodnight to you all. And and Burley is going to go swim in the creek some more with his stick. And Velcro is going to cuddle. And eventually we'll decide it's too dark to see the weeds anymore, and we will go to bed. But that's our update on one of my biggest projects I'm spending time on through the days here right now. Hope you guys all have a great night and have less aggressive weeds to deal with than this stuff. I will do a full tree bush update when I have some time here. I think we've got everything almost leafed out that's gonna be alive for the year, but you can kind of see here where I've gone through and how I've sloped that plastic. I don't know if you can actually see the angle where they all slope in toward each base of the tree, so that all the water that we do get does drain in, and that's what we're working on. Hey Minnie Cat, you want to come say hi to everybody? Oh yeah, should you say hi to the camera? Am I not the cutest mini kitty? Oh yes, and I'm a very friendly mini kitty.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.